My pleasure to welcome Gilad Peleg, who's CEO of SecBI. Is that how you pronounce the company name? Yet another Israeli company in the security space. I think this one with a very interesting positioning with respect to where they intervene in the detection and the remediation of issues. And so a lot of us in the space have always seen Mandiant as the precursor of, what we sometimes joke about is how do you call Ghostbusters, right? And so let me give the microphone to you and say, who do you call SecBI and why and how?
Okay. Thanks, Jacques. Thanks, CICC, for a great event and great week. It's actually a pleasure to be here again. I spent a few years in the Silicon Valley, and I attended events at CICC, and it's great to be here as an entrepreneur and the CEO of SecBI. So we do automatic cybersecurity investigation, and that's in contrast to what is done today in most corporations, in most businesses, which is manual cybersecurity investigation. We read the news, and I won't start to mention the US government and Ashley Madison, although some of them are interesting stories. But the fact is that organizations are getting breached, and they're suffering losses both in reputation, monetary, even personal jobs, and so on. Cybersecurity is not easy. It's complex. And because it's manual, it's taking so much time to actually find and detect these breaches. More or less 50% of the budget is going on services, is going on manpower, and still there's a shortage, and here the numbers are all over the place. I'll give you one number or two. Shortage of about 1 million cybersecurity professionals worldwide, and then there's the number of 300,000 in the US. You can pick a number. It doesn't matter exactly what is the number, but it's huge. Move manual investigation, shift it to automatic investigation, and you get the advantages that we've seen in other industries that moved from manual to automatic. I'll give just two examples. One is the automotive or automobile production industry, the production line, the assembly line. That's obvious what that resulted in. The other one is airline and flight. Think of a world without automatic pilot and automatic navigation. Probably most of us wouldn't be here right now because it would be too expensive and there wouldn't be enough flights and so on. The next big step is automating cybersecurity investigation, and that's a long answer to when you would call us.
Excellent. So I've been breached. I know I've been breached because of somebody else, and then you come in?
Oh, no. So first of all, we're not a service, okay? SecBI is a technology company. We sell our systems, we deploy our solutions, and then they're either on-prem or in the cloud. It's up to the organization. They run in the background, in the foreground. They're being used by the SOC personnel, either the tier 1 or the security operators, as they called, or security analysts or tier 3. It's an ongoing process, cybersecurity investigation. You get alerts. There's a flood of alerts daily. The numbers are huge. We all talk about the noise. We all talk about finding the needle in the haystack, separating the wheat from the chaff. We automate that process so you don't have to drill down, slice and dice. We already show that analyst, here, this is an incident. I need two hands. It's impossible. Israelis, they talk with their hands, you know. We show you the incident. We already cluster all the information together in such a way that investigation is very, very fast. If you need to investigate your whole database, your whole, and find what you're actually looking for. It might take you hours, it might take you days. If I give you now, and when I say I, it's the system. If you're in front of the system and you see one clear incident or one clear cluster with all the information there, you can either quickly understand what is there, or actually what SecBI provides is the next step of automation. We do automatic classifications. So the system already takes into account input from external sources as well as internal sources in the company, and we classify and prioritize those incidents, providing you a very clear definition and classification of the attack.
Makes a lot of sense. So what's the status? You have customers that are users?
So it's customers, it won't be users.
Paying.
Yeah, but we have several pilots and POCs running in large organizations in Israel. They're running in production, generating very good results. They're very happy. And the same thing goes to US and Europe. We're in process of several deployments there. The interesting thing is we're part of the Cyber Labs, JVP Cyber Labs incubator in Beersheba. If you haven't been there, you have to. It's an amazing place, middle of the desert, and Beersheba used to be called the capital of the desert. Today it's the capital of cybersecurity in Israel, maybe the world. So there's two high-tech buildings in the middle of nowhere. And the amount of delegations, and I'm talking about any high-level corporate in the US, in Europe, banks, financial institutions, big consumer conglomerates, you name it, they're all coming there. If they're interested in security, they come there. And we, the small startups, which, if we had to do it on our own, it would be very, very difficult to get to these high-level executives. We get to pitch to them, and the results are amazing. We get POCs requests almost by 100% of these people. So that's where we are. We don't have yet paying customers, but pretty soon.
US operations?
Not yet, but let's say it this way. As I said, we got our seed funding from JVP. Because of this great market pool that we're feeling, we're going after additional funding right now in order to scale our operation in US and Europe, as well as continue development.
So a good outcome of this conference would be to find investors, employees, customers.
If you want to invest, that's fine. We're happy. But yeah, absolutely. We are looking for investors and customers, and maybe I should say customers and then investors. No offense.
No, none taken. We actually like it that way. They do the diligence, we get to invest. Wonderful. So if you had the absolutely most striking example of something that your system was able to achieve, the one story of when customer XYZ did this, they found that, what would that be?
So in one of our, I'll tell, from one of our POCs.
Try to do it with your hand in your pocket.
I'll rip my pocket. So one of our POCs, a large organization in Israel, deployed our solution, and we ran our POC for about a month. We clustered about a month of data, hundreds of millions of events. We broke them down into just very few clusters and even less malicious incidents that we were able to classify. And then we sat with the team there to analyze the results. So first thing that they said, look, you found these things here. It took us days or hours at the best case to do this same kind of detection classification manually. What was more interesting is that they came back and said, you know what, when we look at the data that you're supplying, actually you found 3 times more infected users and communication to CNC, command and control, that we didn't find manually. What this means is that when they investigated it manually, and they thought they contained the incident. They actually didn't. It was still live and doing whatever it was doing in their network.
And so we all know that the big breaches, you know, the Anthem, the Experian, the maybe not the Ashley Madison, but a lot of the breaches, people knew that there were alerts. It's not like they woke up one day and said, oh, we've been breached, how could that have happened? They knew they had alerts, they knew they had red lights, they just had too many of them to do anything, or to do anything meaningful. And so any system that automates, I think, is poised to have a lot of market traction.
Yeah, and you mentioned those, and I think one of the most important things is that you need to have a system that is data-driven with a continuous evolution, meaning that once, as long as additional data comes in, the incidents continue to develop. You don't need or you don't want to have a long training period to baseline the network and so on, but you do want a system that continuously evolves because data continues to come in, incidents change, they might grow, like you mentioned some cases, they might split up to two separate and unique incidents that need to be investigated separately.
So I'll conclude with a discussion that I had the pleasure to have a couple of weeks ago with some really interesting people, which said, for companies like you, is the mode, you know, the protection in the data or in the algorithms. And the argument was going back and forth whether it was the data or the algorithms. And the formula we settled on, and I'll check it with you, says it starts with the data, and the data is temporarily a protection, but eventually everybody can get the data. But if you get the data first, then you can build algorithms that you can take advantage of having had the data early, better than anybody else, and then you build a bigger protection. How do you like that one?
What I'll do is I will defer to my CTO. Smart thing to do at this point. But seriously, I do want to mention the two founders.
And she's not your wife.
Not this time. Not this time. The two founders of SecBI, Alex is the CTO. He ran machine learning for RSA. He's the right guy to answer part one of your question. And the other guy is Doron. He ran professional services and deployed many SOCs in Europe and globally. He's the one to answer the second part of what should come first. But not to fully escape that, I do think it's the algorithm, just to give a clear answer.
Thank you. I'll let everybody ponder on that. Thank you.